are making a rather interesting cookie recipe, but trust me, it is delicious. This original recipe came from Rosalie over at Learning Herbs, but I did adapt it to ingredients that we had on hand and to our taste. Her original recipe called for astragalus powder, and while I love astragalus, I just can't get my taste buds to convert over to having it in a sweeter dish. I like having it with rices and soups and stews. So today we are making a shiitake mushroom rosehip chocolate chip cookie recipe. I wish I could shorten the name, but anyways, so there's a few things that you need to start, you need to have prepared well ahead of time. So we are using steel cut oats. You can use rolled oats, but again, we are using what we have in the house, and we have steel cut oats. So you will want to cook this ahead of time, cool it, and then measure out what you need. You also need to soften your butter. And then for the rose hips, I tried a couple of different ways. We get rose hips in like a little chip form, and we tried powdering that up and putting it in the mix, but you still had this crunch that got stuck in your teeth. So then we tried this method where we pre-soaked the rose hips overnight or for a few hours, and that makes for, you don't have that crunch. Now if you have rose hip powder that's completely powdered down, then you can use that. That would work really well. It's just that crunch it was getting to me. So that's what you need to set up ahead of time. So let's get started. First we are going to mix our dry ingredients. Now we keep our flour in buckets just to keep it fresh, and because we buy it about 50 pounds at a time. So this is a whole hard white wheat flour. See, there are 3 different types of wheat flours. There's a soft white, a hard white, and then a red. And the red will give you like that typical whole wheat loaf looking kind of bread, whereas the soft white will give you more of like an all-purpose flour type. And then I like the hard white because it's that in-between. It's got the in-between for nutritional value, and then it's just got a nice texture. So we're going to do 2 cups. You just want to kind of loosen it up. I'm not very exact with my measuring if you've seen me cook before. So I don't usually take like the butter knife and, hold on, stay. I don't usually take the butter knife and, no, I just, yeah. Next you're going to need your oats. So we're going to toss that in there. And then we're going to do our shiitake mushroom powder. So that's this right here. And then we have our cinnamon. And I don't have a measuring spoon. So you need 1 teaspoon cinnamon. Oh, and the powder, the mushroom powder, you need a 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup. Then we have our nutmeg. We're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg. So smaller pinch than the cinnamon. Then we have 1 teaspoon baking powder. Now this I should probably measure. Okay, there we go. So we are going to do 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now if you notice, our containers we buy in bulk. And again, we buy all of our bulk items through a company called Azure Standard. So we're going to measure out a teaspoon. Then we're going to do 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And again, I will just kind of estimate, my words, guys, seriously. Then we have salt. We have 1 teaspoon salt. So this is just sea salt. You can use whatever salt you have on hand. And I believe that's it for our dry ingredients. So we're going to mix all this up. You could really smell that mushroom powder. fling a little on your clothes, you know. Okay, so we have that all mixed up. Now we are going to switch over to our wet ingredients. Now our wet ingredients is going to take a lot of beating with the hand beater. So I'm just going to explain everything that's going to go in it, and then I will do the process. So we are going to start with our, where are we? Butter. We're going to add the 1 cup butter, the 2 sticks. We're going to beat that with the honey. So I have 3/4 cup honey, and we're going to beat that together. Once that's light and fluffy, we are going to add our eggs, 2 eggs, 1 at a time, beating well between each egg. And then we add our vanilla, 1 teaspoon vanilla, and that's it for that. So let me get started.
Mom, here we go. Oh.
Oh, very sticky honey.
No, Mario.
Now your cookies will be a little more of like a cake consistency versus an actual what you think of when you're eating cookies, because we are using honey instead of sugar. So if you prefer that cookie type texture, then you're going to want to use sugar. Get any shells in it. It's hard to do when you're working with room temperature eggs. Let's add our second egg. Okay, now we're going to add our 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now we do make our own vanilla extract. We got our beans from, it's a Facebook group called something like Vanilla Bean Co-op. We got it over a year ago, maybe close to 2 years ago. And we just put, I mean, there must be about 15 beans in here. But we will use it, and then once it's used up, we will add more alcohol. I'll add a fresh bean or 2 to the mixture. I keep a few beans in my freezers to help restore the mix. And then you just let it sit months. Let it sit for months. We made this one, we started it last April. And the longer you have it sit, the more vanilla taste it'll have and the less alcohol taste it will have. But this, guys, cannot even compete. It can't even compete to the store vanilla. Not to mention the store vanilla main ingredient is water. No water in this stuff. We're going to add our 1 teaspoon. Smell it again because it smells divine. I meant to go on high, not turn it off. We have a very cheap blender. I don't use a hand blender that often, so it's a little faulty. When I want to go to super high, number 5, it turns off on me. Okay, now that we have our liquid mixture made up, we are going to slowly add our dry mixture to our liquid mixture. So what I like to do is take my cup measuring cup And I will sprinkle, about yay much in. And then I will mix it in thoroughly. And then I will do that again. And I will keep repeating until all of the dry mixture is incorporated in the wet mixture. You guys just ever want to sing and dance when you're cooking? I don't even have a particular song stuck in my head. I don't know, I want to dance. So does Phoenix. I'm not sure if you can see Phoenix playing in the living room over there, but he's dancing. All of my kids like to dance. Want a good arm workout today? Make cookies. I think I'll just dump the rest of that in there. Phoenix is singing. So the kids have off from school today, which I did not realize until last night. I was walking by the fridge and happened to glance at the school calendar and saw January 15th, no school. And I'm like, oh, okay, when's January 15th? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's tomorrow. And then January 18th, Monday for Martin Luther Day. Hold on. I always get that. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I don't know why I keep mixing that up. But anyway, so they have off Monday also. So we might go hiking or something. So maybe I'll include a little bit of our hike in Monday's video. Okay, so we have a nice thick batter consistency here. We are going to stir in the rose hips and then 1 cup of chocolate chips. So we are using dark chocolate chips this time. Last time I made bitter chocolate chips. You can do it with milk chocolate chips, whatever your preference is. Go ahead and use it. So we're gonna mix in our rose hips. It was about 1/4 to 1/3 cup of dry rose hips. And so it's probably about 3/4 of a cup of the soaked mixture. We're gonna get all that in there. We're gonna add 1 cup of our chocolate chips. In a little bit, okay? Okay? Yeah. Okay. Mix that in nice and well. Continue that arm workout. I'll have to make another batch so I can get a workout on my other arm. Okay. Had a little bout of fighting between the kids that we had to work out. Okay, so we have a nice mixture. Now what we are going to do is cover this with a plastic wrap and stick it. You can either do the fridge, or if it's cold enough, out in the garage for a few hours, or if you're under a time restraint, then stick it in the freezer for about half an hour to 45 minutes. You just want it cold enough that you can form it into balls with your hands. Okay, we will be back in about 45 minutes to continue. Okay guys, so the bowl is out of the freezer. I believe it's the right consistency to roll it easily. Hey dude, can we leave that on there?
No, I'm gay.
Yeah, we're gonna leave. Let me close this bucket. Ooh, watch your fingers. Gonna help me? Oh, okay, excuse me. There we go. Okay, so I just take a spoon, Spoon some out.
Scoop it out.
And roll it up in a ball. And then you just want to press down just a little bit. We don't want them completely flat, but we don't want them in a complete ball form either. Roll her up. Press her down. And then just give them about an inch or two, couple inches between each cookie so they are not touching and they're beautiful and round and yummy. I mean, either way they'll be yummy, but boom. And before you take your cookies out of the freezer, I already did this, but you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Make sure you wash your hands afterwards. Okay guys, now that we have our pan filled, we're going to toss it in the oven and get this batch going. The rest of the batter you can put your lid back on and stick it in the freezer until you are ready to start your next batch of cookies. Unless the kids eat them all, then maybe there won't be a second batch of cookies. Does it taste good, Phoenix? Is it delicious? Mm-hmm.
That one.
Okay. Can I have that?
Yep.
Thank you. So we pulled our cookies out of the oven and we let them cool for just a couple minutes on the pan. Now we're going to transfer them onto our cookie cooling sheet. I don't know what the technical term is. Ooh, do they look good, Phoenix? Yeah. There we go. You think we could try one?
Yep.
Let's see. Usually I'd let it cool a little longer, but we want to give it a try. Look at this. It looks good, but it's definitely like a kind of cakey material. You want that piece?
Hot.
It is a little hot. Blow on it. Oh, it's good, right? It's really good, guys. And you can't even tell that there's mushrooms in here. Ooh. Oh. Fun fact, or actually two facts about mushrooms. Here, you can have that cookie. So I was reading in my Herbal Academy book. This was actually, it could have been all the way back in Unit 1. But they were talking about mushrooms and the importance of finding a good source to purchase your mushrooms from, because mushrooms are said to be high in vitamin D3. So it's very good to eat during winter when you can't get as much rays from the sun. But train of thought, vitamin D3, sunlight, yes. Okay, so a lot of the mushrooms that are from the store were tested for those vitamin D levels, and they were actually very low. And they found out it was because they weren't grown with access to the sun. So the mushrooms weren't able to suck in those sunlights and convert it over to the vitamin D. So that's fact number one. Most mushrooms from the store do not actually have those vitamin D levels that you are searching for. Fact number two, our body cannot break down that covering, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it right now, of the mushroom wall, like can't break down the mushroom wall. I wish I had the book to actually read it from. But anyways, fact number 2, you need to cook or dehydrate the mushroom in order to be able to absorb the vitamin D from the mushroom. So eating raw mushrooms is not going to do or give you those levels of vitamin D because your body cannot break down the walls of the mushroom and absorb the vitamin D. So if you are looking to get vitamin D from your mushrooms, you want to, 1, make sure you are getting it from a source that is growing it in conditions that allow for the vitamin D to actually be in the mushroom in the first place, and 2, make sure you are cooking or dehydrating your mushrooms so that your body can absorb the vitamin D. I gotta save the cat! Here, can I have Peanut, please? Can I have Peanut? The kids love Peanut, but they love her a little too much. Isn't that right? Oh, you're not getting a cookie. No cookies for you. Okay, guys, so I hope this has been an informational video for you guys. I hope you try this recipe. If you do, let me know in the comments below how it went for you. And that's about it. We will see you guys on Monday, maybe Tuesday if our internet is super slow again, with the farm tour. Bye!